Welcome back to Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Still nothing between the Hamilton Cardinals and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Jordan Castaldo is not in the lineup tonight, but he is at the ballpark, and we have him sitting right next to us as the first pitch just popped up in foul in the broadcast booth with Ryan and I. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Could be better. Just looking forward to get back on the field, getting healthy.
And how tough is it for a guy like you? I mean, going back to your time with the Baycats, you played almost every game, maybe missed one game or two games max this season. Just how tough is it knowing that you're at the ballpark? It's not like you're on vacation or anything like that, and you just can't play right now.
Yeah, no, it is tough, especially for that exact reason. I've for a large part of my career remained healthy. I think even those one or two games those years in Barrie were probably lost because of work commitments and stuff like that. So. Actually made that comment to my dad. I was talking to my dad last night. Made that very same comment. Said 2 years, two big injuries. So incredibly frustrating because I'm a gamer and I just want to be out there with the boys, helping the boys. Obviously, can't do that from here. So just looking forward to getting healthy, get back on the field.
Yeah, how tough has it been for you too in terms of you played one game and then you don't play the next, and you're kind of going back and forth? How much of the last as a grind the last 2 weeks been for you?
Yeah, I mean it's frustrating because we're not really sure what it is right now. I mean, just waiting on my appointment to get some imaging done, but it certainly is frustrating. One day it feels okay, good enough to DH, and then I wake up the next day and it feels better just moving around, living my day-to-day life, and I get here and then it's like a whole nother experience. So incredibly frustrating not knowing what's going on exactly at the moment, but we're in the process of getting that sorted out. Once we do, we'll be able to take steps in the right direction.
So Marcus Connect is the batter for the Toronto Maple Leafs. John Salazzo, for the second time, grounded out hard to the third baseman. Hey, Jordan, how about this guy at the plate, Marcus Connect? We saw he was a huge addition last year. He had a pretty good impact in his first game with the team with that go-ahead 2-run home run. How much of a boost is it for the team having a guy like him?
Oh, it's big. It's big. I mean, you got a professional player out of Marcus. Somebody's got a huge passion for the game, loves being around the game, thinks the game. Just an overall great guy as well. So obviously we'll welcome him back with open arms anytime. Obviously he had commitments before and commitments in the baseball world. So he might not have been playing, but he wasn't totally detached from baseball to the point where he wasn't he didn't have any kind of focus or anything. You saw his first game back the other night, hitting the game-winning home run, and I mean it wasn't a cheap one, right? So welcome back with open arms because he's such a great outfielder as well. And many people talk about that about him because it just makes it look so easy out there. But really, Marcus is probably one of the most sure-handed, probably best defending quarter outfielders I've ever played with. And me and Marcus go back to actually our Oshawa, the Ontario Blue Jay days. So I'm fond of him. Just hoping that he just builds on the consistency that he had last year and picks us up in the playoffs if we need him to.
Yeah, and last season you guys had a nice mix of lefties and righties. Obviously, we all know the lefties in the lineup. And last season it was Sean, Riley, Takamatsu, Connect. How nice is it to at least get Connect back, and now you at least have a righty, so that way maybe you guys don't have to face all these southpaws coming out of different teams' bullpens.
Yeah, no, we definitely are left-handed heavy. I think there's a couple teams in the league like that. It's like every year there's more and more left-handed pitching in this league. So it's nice to kind of get that balance. Top league is to swing a bit. You got Lewis, right-handed bat. But getting Marcus back and getting another right-handed bat really, really helps. Because you're right, especially at the top of our order, we're left-handed dominant. Those are the guys we're trying to get the most at bats on a regular basis. So certainly having Marcus slot back into that 4 or 5 slot is going to help balance the lineup real well and really lengthen it out.
So Damon Toffoli grounds out to first base, but it does advance the runner to second. So now 2 outs and a runner on second base. Hey, Jordan, I asked Ryan this question earlier on. Over the last 3 games, do you know who has the highest batting average on your team?
John Salazzo.
No, it's your coach.
Really?
Yeah, John Salazzo.
I mean, Thompson's always hit as long as I played with him or played against him. I didn't say it must be a quiet number. Then.
The OPS isn't high.
The OPS probably matches batting average, I'm sure. But there you go, Lewis. Get up the middle.
That one gets up the middle. Here comes the runner around third base. It's Marcus Connect. He will score. And the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And that's another element of Marcus's game that doesn't get talked about. I mean, when he really wants to, he can still pick him up and put him down. So, adds that additional element of speed.
Now we know who the backup color commentator is if I miss a game. I mean, that's expert analysis from Jordan Castaldo, a former Triple Crown winner, 2-time regular season MVP, 1-time playoff MVP. But I have to say, I think,
4 or 5 times playoff.
yeah, there was one up in 2016 in this ballpark that I think you should have gotten given a championship clinching game against the Maple Leafs, and he had 2 bombs in that game, and that capped off an amazing playoff run. But I mean, you hit that go-ahead home run in Game 1 against the Leafs, and you've tormented this former team of yours many times. But how nice is it to be back and kind of wrap up? Everything comes full circle here back with the Maple Leafs at Christie Pittsburgh. Really, it all began for you.
Yeah. I mean, and that was big. I mean, I was actually talking to Salcedo before the game. Talking about those last couple of years in Barrie, and I'm on the record a bunch saying I would have loved to go back and try to get 7 in a row. But kind of once everybody started moving out and moving on, it made total sense for me to come back to Toronto. I mean, on a good day without traffic, I can get here in about 10 or 15 minutes. So, it made sense. I've played here since high school. Here's a deep drive to right field.
Got some play-by-play. Finish it.
Yeah, and the Cardinals retired Maple Leafs in the 3rd or the 4th year?
Sponsored by TD Canada Trust.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely it's nice to be back here. Again, my parents get to come to most of these games, which is big. So just hopefully looking forward to getting everybody else in the ring who hasn't had a chance to experience one of those yet.
There's absolutely no Thomas. You can go back to commercial, but what's the odds that we can get you perhaps for one last half inning?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, one more half inning with Jordan Castaldo coming up. This is Toronto Maple Leafs baseball presented by TD Canada Trust. Welcome back to Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube. 1-0 with the RBI single, and Marcus Connect coming into the score. The Toronto Maple Leafs leading the Hamilton Cardinals. As first pitch is way up and in from Sam Green, who's getting another outing, and we're still joined by Jordan Castaldo on the broadcast. Jordan, we've seen a dominant performance from Sam Green so far. Has this been one of the young guys that's really impressed you this year?
Yeah, very impressed by Sam. Love his story. I think he really kind of tapped into his baseball talent, later in life. He's a little bit of a late bloomer, but I love what he brings to the table. He gets in there and really attacks with his fastball. He's got a sharp slider, a lot of depth. He throws strikes, and that's the biggest thing. Little play in the right, he's all around the plate all the time, and he competes, and he doesn't complain out there. He gets squeezed a little bit, just gets back on the mound, tries to make a better pitch. But I'm a big fan of Sam Green. Loves what he brings to rotation, loves what he brings to the team.
Yeah, and also going back to Wednesday night's game, I mean, it was a brutal game for the point of all these walks that we had. There was 21 combined walks between the two teams, and then he comes in the 8th inning and he throws a 3 up, 3 down. Just, I know you weren't playing that game, but just how nice is that to have a guy like that comes in, he throws nothing but strikes.
Well, that's what you need, right? It's a lot of what we had in Barrie with Nikorsky and Haas down there. Guys you knew were going to come in and throw strikes.
Ryan Burnside. No, there's a foul ball. Your thoughts?
Hard to tell from here. It could have looked foul to me. I can't see the pole because the light pole's in the way.
See, I thought the ball was, as you did, was gone on impact. This might be one that the umpires meet. It's happened a few times.
Like right here, this is something I don't mind if the umpires get together and then if it's two of them deem it was fair. I don't mind them changing the call. Obviously, it's a replay in this league, and below average fair foul poles here. So, personally, I'm not. I don't mind if they do get together and make the change, but obviously, I'm not going to hope that happens. But
there's been a few. I remember back in the 2017 playoffs, Kyle DeGrace hit a bomb to left field, but the umpire saw it was a double. So, I mean, that kind of stuff happens to you in this league, but maybe one day we can invest in instant replay and then come up to the booth here and get a nice 10 and kind of go from there in terms of instant replay, Thomas.
Yeah, I think we're a little ways away from that.
Maybe.
One thing I want to know, Jordan, you got a crowd of fans out there in left field in the Bushman. And, they're heckling the other team all the time. Do you guys hear that when you're on the field, or is that something you just kind of tune out?
Oh, no, we absolutely hear it, and I absolutely love it. They're fair with their chirps, which is great. They do their homework. They come prepared, but they're not offside. They're usually really clever with them. And they're huge fans of us. We love the support. I mean, just look down there. It's got to be, 25 of them down there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and they're here every game. You know,
Call stands foul ball, by the way. Just go ahead, Jordan.
so I mean, yeah, no, we're incredibly lucky to have that kind of following here. To be honest, I think with all the noise they make, it probably attracts more eyeballs down to the field, anyways. And we've had some great Wednesday night games here. Obviously the vibe's little bit different at night. Um, but I'll go ahead and say there's been numerous chirps I've laughed at, mid pitch or something like that. But like I said, it's all done in good fun. They're not offside. And if they're ragging on a guy and they see him walking across the field, they'll probably ask him to have a beer with him afterwards. So, I really love having them here. They really add to the experience of it. And like I said, we're just lucky to have a group of people who's going to support us like that.
Isn't that kind of what's special about all these different ballparks in the league? You always talk about the Baycast and always have that unique feel. A great baseball environment. You come to Christie Fish and it's the interaction with the fans. And Brantford back in their heyday also had a great fan base. Is that what kind of makes this league so unique in terms of each ballpark has its own quirks about it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you know what? At one point in time, every team in this league has had that kind of that ambiance around them with their fan bases. I mean, obviously Brantford back in the day, my first 6-7 years in the league was just incredible. Obviously, all the years I played in Barrie was incredible. I've seen pictures of the pits here where it's just full with people, top to bottom. Welland's like that now. Obviously, London last year was 5,000 people there in Game 5, and they've always had a strong following. I mean, they had a really good crowd the other night. So, knowing that you're going to play in front of quite a few eyeballs is certainly adds to the excitement, adds to the aura of getting ready, if you will, and getting ready to play. Because believe it or not, a lot of times when you're at work all day, it's kind of hard to get up for these games. So if you're playing in front of nobody, it kind of makes you scratch your head like, oh, what am I doing here? But it's nice when you got good crowds up there. Play top here, come on. And so yeah, I mean, league is, and I think too, with kind of it's kind of the way the Blue Jays have kind of redeveloped their fan base, a younger fan base. I think you have more kids in baseball now. I think you might hear any boy or girl say, hey mom, hey dad, let's go to the park, watch these guys play. Because a lot of the kids, to a lot of the kids, we're pretty special players. I mean, we may not think that highly of ourselves, but we try to hold ourselves up, a high standard, so that if a kid is there watching, that you can set a good example for them.
I have to say, perhaps if we had the regular first baseman in the lineup today, that play may have been made. Any comments on that?
Are you diving for that ball?
I know I got Topley's out there working his ass off. Nobody can fault him for that. In all honesty, it's not his natural position. So yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about my game at first base. I have for a long time.
Here's a throw down the second that gets into center field. The Hamilton Cardinals looking to score a run. It's 1-1.
Yeah, I'm actually going to ask Jordan about that because on that play, I've always believed you just let the guy take the 90 feet. What are your thoughts on guy at third base, less than 2 out, and throwing down to second base?
Well, I mean, it's got to be thrown with conviction. I think everybody's got to be on the same page. The fact that the wind's howling in at 30 miles an hour here probably doesn't help Justin's ball there. But
yeah,
it really didn't look like we were committed to what we were doing there. I don't know if teams just know this on us now, but we're gonna have to clean that up. I don't know how many outs are Eakin right now.
This is gonna be the first out.
First out.
Just in time.
I'm trying to get out there. I'm making that same play. I just like to see it done with a little bit more conviction on our end.
So when it comes to that, and obviously we talked about playoffs, and the one thing I always thought was special with the Baycats dynasty was you guys never liked to lose at any point in any regular season game, May, June, whatever. But you guys understood that regular season was a regular season, and that in this league, more times than not, all the teams make the playoffs. How do you balance trying to give it your best every night in the regular season, the dog days, at the same time know that you have to flip the switch come playoff time?
Well, that's maybe just that's just maybe the thing. I try to make sure that there wasn't a switch to flip come playoff time. So, even my not so great seasons, I made sure I had a routine and at least felt good and my body felt right. Because you're right, once you get to playoffs, everything starts at zero again, so regular season doesn't matter at all. I think the big thing is avoiding that switch because it's hard to turn on, it's hard to find there. So really, it's just making sure you're on the same page with everybody. That in this case, using Justin as an example, making sure we're on the same page with the middle infielders and the pitcher and all that stuff. Just making sure we're solid there because it's not so much the physical mistakes that beat us. We beat ourselves a lot of time with the mental errors. So again, in that situation, it's the same play I would have made. I would have thrown it to try to get outs there. But again, just like to see a little bit better execution. But again, it's also Justin's throwing out a ton of guys. We all know he can. So yeah, not like I'm concerned about it. Just we're giving away runs like that, and this is a game we need.
This 10, I don't think it's lasting 9 innings, Thomas. Go ahead.
I think it is.
Okay.
We're joined here with Jordan Castaldo on the broadcast. 1-1 between the Hamilton Cardinals and the Toronto Maple Leafs in the top of the 4th inning. Jordan, we're coming very close to playoff time here in the Intercounty Baseball League. Is there a team that you guys prefer to play in the first round? I know it's lined up with the Barrie Bay Cats. That's one that you've had a lot of history with. Does that matter at all to you?
No, you're definitely asking the wrong person that question. I mean, to me, I kind of learned back in college that it didn't really matter who you were playing. The game doesn't change. So I just kind of eliminated that potential for for fear, intimidation. You just got to go out there and ball out. The rules don't change. Strike zone obviously changes umpire to umpire, and it's a problem in its own right in this league. But aside from that, everything's the same. Still pick up the ground ball, throw it over to first base. So I don't think there's a preference. I don't think we played everybody tough this year. Everybody's played us tough, and then there's a lot of parity in the league. So I'm just looking forward to it, really.
Well, thank you, Jordan Castaldo, for joining us on the broadcast. We'll let you get back to your team activities. I appreciate you being on. 1-1 between the Hamilton Cardinals and the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is Maple Leafs Baseball, presented by TD Canada Trust.